Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain a Japanese horror film from 2026, titled The Convenience Store. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie begins in an apartment, where a man gruesomely murders his wife and son with a 5-inch nail. The scene then shifts to the Zeroth night, where we see a mysterious person leaving a house at midnight and walking down the street. After walking for some time, the person arrives at a convenience store, where she meets a worker named Funabashi. She asks if he has seen the manager, but Funabashi says no, and from their conversation, we learn that the mysterious person is a girl named Yukino, a part-time convenience store employee who has arrived to begin her night shift. After changing into her work uniform, Funabashi leaves the store as his shift ends, and Yukino begins her shift. The scene then shifts to a detective, Inspector Sarawatari, who is driving to a crime scene with his associate, Sato, and as they drive, the two of them chat. They soon arrive at the crime scene, which turns out to be the convenience store, where several police officers and members of the press are gathered. It turns out that the store manager, Toshiro, was found dead in the store's basement with his eyes gouged out. A burnt SD card was also found at the scene, while Funabashi was rushed to the hospital after being found unconscious inside a locker in the changing room. Yukino was the person who discovered Toshiro's corpse, so the police take her to the station for questioning. During the questioning, we learn that Yukino works at the store 6 days a week to cover her tuition and living expenses while also supporting her mother. There is no doubt that Toshiro was murdered, so Sarawatari asks Yukino if she has noticed anything suspicious lately. In response, Yukino shows him an SD card that arrived 4 days earlier. While taking out the trash, Yukino notices a door that has been chained shut. She is soon approached by a homeless man, who claims to know what happened inside the chained room. He says he was told in a dream to warn them and that if Yukino gives him some food, she will be saved. However, it seems he is only lying because he wants something to eat. As Yukino continues working, the store's entrance door suddenly opens, but when she looks, there is nobody outside. She closes the door and returns to work, but minutes later, the door opens again. After closing it, Yukino is startled by a delivery man, who has brought a package addressed to her. The sender is unknown, and inside the package is an SD card. Yukino decides to watch the content of the SD card, which shows a crime scene, and Sarawatari also watches the footage. Yukino tells the detective that she received the card at around 4:43 a.m., and shows him 3 more SD cards she received from an unknown sender, one each day. On the first night before the incident, Funabashi tells Yukino that a fellow worker had told him how the store's front door opened on its own. A technician was called to investigate the problem but dismissed it as a sensor issue. Yukino fears that it might be a ghost, but Funabashi tells her that ghosts do not exist. After Funabashi leaves, Yukino works at the back of the store when she notices a black car watching the store. However, the person inside soon drives away, and while cleaning inside the store, an elderly woman enters. She ignores Yukino and walks straight to the bathroom, so Yukino doesn't think much of it and continues cleaning. However, when she reaches the bathroom, she is shocked to find the door open. Yukino cannot find the woman in the bathroom, but soon spots her among the shelves, where she is asking about her grandson, Ken. The woman insists that the store is her daughter's house and tells Yukino to give it back to her before walking out. Yukino later checks the security cameras but does not find any child. When she checks outside, she notices a boy dropping a package before running away. Inside the package is the second SD card, which shows the basement of a house along with 5-inch nails. On the second night, while Yukino is in the locker room, she is startled by Funabashi. Yukino asks if he is the one sending her the SD cards, but Funabashi says no and suspects that she might have a stalker. Later, an AC repairer named Hamada arrives to fix the AC after Yukino calls to complain that it is malfunctioning. As Yukino continues her shift, she enters the storeroom to pick up some items. However, when she tries to leave, she discovers that the door will not open. Suddenly, the store lights go out, and terrified, Yukino tries to open the door, but it remains locked, and then, she sees this. Suddenly, Yukino hears Hamada screaming while he is fixing the AC unit outside, and just then, several cans fall onto the floor. While picking them up, Yukino encounters a boy who turns out to be Ken. She soon notices several 5-inch nails scattered across the floor, and then Yukino then encounters a woman who appears to know what is happening. The woman gives Yukino a protective charm, but as the woman begins to struggle for breath, she leaves the store. Later, Yukino checks the security cameras to see what happened to Hamada, but she cannot find him. She soon discovers another package containing another SD card on a table. While talking with Sato, Sarawatari tells him that Yukino believes the store is haunted. However, what bothers him is the SD cards being sent to her. Sarawatari believes that the killer's target might not be Toshiro. Instead, they may hold a grudge against the convenience store itself. On the third night, Yukino is off work and is at her house when she hears her doorbell ring. She looks through the peephole but does not see anyone, and suddenly, she sees this. The lights in her apartment suddenly go out, and a glass cup falls to the floor. Hearing strange noises coming from her bedroom, Yukino goes to investigate but finds nothing under her bed because it is too dark. However, when she uses the flashlight on her phone, she sees this, and finds another package containing another SD card. On the fourth night, during her shift, the store lights suddenly go out, and to Yukino's shock, she finds several monitors placed on the shelves. She also discovers several 5-inch nails scattered across the floor and tries to leave the store, but the door will not open. Suddenly, all the monitors turn on by themselves, and frightened, Yukino tries to escape to the storeroom, but it will not open either. Just then, she spots the same ghostly woman approaching her, sending Yukino into a panic. However, the woman soon disappears. Then, one of the monitors turns on, showing Ken trying to show Yukino something in the basement, and at that moment, the front door suddenly opens. Yukino heads down to the dark basement, where she looks around and spots Toshiro's lifeless body. After regaining consciousness from passing out, she informs the police about the body. During the questioning, Yukino keeps staring at the time. Sarawatari notices this and asks her about it, but Yukino says it is nothing. As the questioning comes to an end, Yukino begs the detective to watch the footage from the last 2 SD cards. Sarawatari finds this strange but agrees to watch them. One of them shows a man gruesomely murdering his family, the same scene shown at the beginning of the movie. The final SD card shows someone watching Yukino while she is in her room. Sarawatari fears that she may be the next target, so he tells her that he will arrange police protection for her. He also tells Yukino that they may need to contact her again and asks her to cooperate when they do. Outside the police station, Yukino reunites with her mother, who is relieved that she is all right after hearing about what happened at the store. The first night after the questioning, Sato informs Sarawatari that forensic investigators discovered that the footage on the SD cards was not copied from any movie, insisting that the footage is real. Later, Sarawatari's wife, Kiho, visits him at his workplace and shares some good news with him. She is pregnant, which makes Sarawatari happy as he is finally going to become a father. Later, while smoking behind the police station and analyzing the footage, Sarawatari notices that the basement door is open. When he looks away for a few minutes, the door suddenly closes by itself. Later, Sarawatari and Sato visit the delivery man who delivered the first SD card to Yukino to question him about the sender. However, the delivery man doesn't remember putting the package in his truck, he simply found it there. Later, while the detectives are discussing the possibility that the killer could be a ghost, they are approached by the homeless man. He asks them to give him some food, promising that he will save them, but Sarawatari ignores the old man. On the second night after the questioning, Sarawatari is in the interrogation room when Ken suddenly startles him. Minutes later, the old woman from earlier enters the room and begins asking for Ken. However, when Sarawatari looks under the table, the boy is gone. While in the record room, Sarawatari reads an article about Ken and his mother, Sayoko, who was brutally murdered by her husband, Masaharu. The incident occurred in 2001, when Masaharu, who was on medical leave due to mental illness, became violent and killed both his son and wife with 5-inch nails. The psychopath filmed the entire murder with a video camera and saved the footage across 4 SD cards. On the third night after the questioning, Sarawatari is at the back of the station watching the footage from the SD cards. When he inserts the last card, he is shocked to see himself on the recording, as if someone is filming him from the basement, and this leaves him terrified. That night, while still at the station, Sarawatari notices a room door opening by itself, and suddenly, he sees the ghost of Sayoko, but it turns out to be a dream. On the fourth night, Sarawatari visits the convenience store, where he watches the footage of Yukino being haunted. After hearing strange noises coming from the storeroom, he goes to investigate but finds nobody there. However, when he opens a locker, he sees Ken's ghost, which startled, and several 5-inch nails scattered on the floor. He soon locks eyes with the ghost of Sayoko, which terrifies him. Sarawatari then encounters the strange woman from before, who offers him a protective charm. However, he refuses it and tells her to leave. Back at the station, Sarawatari tells Sato that everything Yukino told them was true. He explains that he has been seeing the ghosts of Ken and Sayoko, but Sato doesn't believe him. After hearing that Funabashi is now awake, the detectives go to the hospital. Sarawatari angrily confronts him and demands that he tell them everything he knows. Funabashi reveals that a few days before the manager was found dead, he noticed a suspicious car outside the store. The person inside was the area manager, who claimed she had come to inspect the place. The woman begins asking Funabashi strange questions, including whether he had noticed a bad smell. Funabashi finds this suspicious, and it is revealed that she used to have an affair with the manager, mostly in the basement. Funabashi also mentions that Yukino has a stalker, whom he believes was the repairman, Hamada. While Hamada was working on the AC unit outside the store, Funabashi suddenly attacked him, causing him to flee and warning him to stay away from Yukino. However, Sarawatari finds all of this information useless until Funabashi recalls how he was attacked and rendered unconscious by the homeless man. He then tells the detective that he had planted a hidden camera on Yukino's locker in the store, prompting Sarawatari to quickly drive there. When Sarawatari arrives at the store, he enters, but the door suddenly closes by itself, locking him inside. Just then, he notices that the store has transformed. 5-inch nails are scattered across the floor, while monitors on the shelf suddenly turn on. As Sarawatari struggles to open the storeroom door, he sees the ghost of Sayoko approaching him. However, she soon disappears, and then, this happens. Inside the room, Sarawatari manages to find the hidden camera on Yukino's locker and watches its footage. It shows the homeless man knocking Funabashi unconscious, and Yukino assists him in placing his body inside a locker. The homeless man is aware that Yukino has been receiving the SD cards from an unknown sender and has watched the footage they contain. He gives her a drive and asks her to copy all the footage from the SD cards onto it, before revealing a shocking truth. The land where the convenience store was built is plagued by the curse of a woman whose son was stolen from her. Anyone who comes to the store becomes the recipient of the cursed footage. The homeless man explains that the only way to escape the curse is to copy the SD cards and show the footage to someone else. If they fail to copy and show the footage within 4 days, they will be cursed to death. However, it won't be the person who received the curse who dies, but someone precious to them. Sarawatari then realizes that Yukino has transferred the curse to him, and remembers how she begged him to watch the remaining SD cards. Although he is not the one who will die, he realizes that the curse will claim someone precious to him, his wife, and Sarawatari quickly drives home. When he arrives, he finds Kiho lying in bed and assumes the worst has happened. However, he soon realizes that she is only asleep. To his horror, it dawns on him that the curse isn't after Kiho, but their unborn child. Sarawatari breaks down in tears, while Kiho seems unaware of what is happening. 6 months later, we see Yukino, who has put her house up for sale and is planning to move in with her mother. She notices a rusty 5-inch nail on the floor, and when she picks it up, she suddenly has flashes of Toshiro being killed by the ghost of Sayoko. Okay guys, that's all the recap about the convenience store from 2026. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.